The first revenue was $2. So for my first month revenue after launching the course for 6 months, which means from day one when I know Udemy, all the course, it took me 8 months to earn my first dollar. It was $2 was my first revenue. Of course, as I said, revenue was not the main intention, but it matters. The $2 is my beginning journey through course. Then I started making more courses. But even then, my primary focus was to upskill, because the product that I worked in Honeywell, in Singapore, was in some different technology. It cannot happen that you're able to work in the tech stack that you are passionate about or you know. It's all about the current job in hand. So what I did is I took this as a learning opportunity and challenge, and then learned new language, made a course out of it, so that I can upskill myself.
Right.
This is how I created more courses and then increased the catalog. I feel that when you study at one of the premier institute, I feel the biggest advantage, apart from getting the opportunity to have more offers, is the people, means your own classmates, because they also come from like those kind of top people, whichever college is, what your people who are your classmates are on the same level as you. So when I also studied, I was able to work closely with my classmates who are also top of the academics. I had a very close relationship with 3 of my best friends who were amazing with programming at that point of time. So they are into first year of engineering, but if we look at them, they were amazing with the programming or what they were doing at that point of time. So that also inspired me, and also joined with them to keep learning myself. Now, if you see, they are all in very good streams. Like one of them is at IISc, he did well, and one is a couple of people are in US who did a PhD and MS. So because I see my friends, the hostel life is definitely very fun during the college days. I missed it. That's still okay. But for someone who is listening, if you are in a dilemma whether you should go for like a day scholar or a hostel, I strongly recommend the hostel life. It's not only about the fun in the hostel, it's about the exposure that you get. You see all of your friends is doing something, this is not like related to your studies or something on your higher studies, some projects, you get motivated yourself. Also, you'll see all your seniors, your super seniors, so everything are in the same place. So it's more about networking and the motivation that you get to achieve higher. So
Right.
I always feel that if you are into college, hostel life is the best, personally as well as for your career.
Hey everyone, welcome to Pathfinders. Today we have a new guest, a very special guest from Chennai, Praveen Kumar Bouna. Today we are thrilled to introduce Praveen Kumar Bouna, a distinguished software developer whose 18-year career in enterprise application development is nothing short of extraordinary. With a bachelor's of engineering in computer science from the prestigious PSG College of Technology, Praveen honed his expertise over a decade at Honeywell in Bangalore, traveled several global customer sites, and spent 8 years at Robert Bosch in Singapore, developed world-class products. As a passionate educator, he empowers learners worldwide through online courses on cloud computing, covering Docker, Kubernetes, Azure, and APIs. Praveen is a true visionary in technology development and imparting tech education to students worldwide with his platform codewithpraveen.com. Praveen, welcome to Pathfinders. It's an absolute pleasure to have you today.
Thank you, Vijayan. It's been a pleasure to be with you. And first off, congrats for being selected as the tech podcast channel. That's very nice to know.
No, thank you. Thank you, Praveen. Praveen and I, just for anyone listening, we have a history. We have spent good time together. We are past colleagues. We stayed in the same neighborhood. So I've known Praveen for a long time, more than 15 plus years. So it's an absolute pleasure to sit down with Praveen and converse in this format. It's very new for us. Normally we converse in Tamil, in the native language. So speaking in English in this format is new for both of us. So it's going to be an interesting conversation.
Yeah,
I suppose.
Right. Just to add to it, yes, as he said, we are colleagues. We met at Honeywell in Bangalore. So we have worked for a few years in Bangalore with CCTV surveillance products. So since then, we have been in touch. So it's good to know and keep in touch for over the years. And finally, we were able to meet through a podcast.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Praveen. Praveen, for anyone watching, listening, tell us about like how your whole journey was in your own words, please. Like if you want to summarize like Praveen Kumar Bouna, like how would you summarize it? Where did it start? If you can sum up in your own words, please.
Yeah, sure. So I'm basically from South India, state called Tamil Nadu. So I had done my bachelor's of engineering computer science. That was, I feel, one of the main breakthrough, having done the bachelor's engineering in computer science stream. So that kickstarted my career. So once I was graduated from PhD Tech, I was into Honeywell. I entered Honeywell through as a trainee. So which means during the final semester of the college, we have the opportunity at PhD Tech to carry out the project work at any of the companies. So Honeywell came up and then got selected. So the journey started there as a trainee. So then the next 10 years, almost I was with Honeywell. It has been a very fruitful journey there. One of the main advantage I felt working with Honeywell was the product that I started working. It was built from scratch during that point of time. It was around 2006 is was the start of my career. So fortunately, I was able to meet like-minded, similar profile people as well, because they were recruiting more people to kickstart the development of the product. So that's when I got a great bunch of guys whom I am still in touch with them. That was another breakthrough working in that product, because I happened to work with enterprise product with great people. Another main advantage with that was, since it was from scratch, so we are able to build everything from the beginning. Like we built everything like SQL database, the backend servers, and the APIs. Everything started from scratch. So working in a product company as a fresher was one of the best thing happened to me as well, because it gave me those experience and expertise and how it is structured. So these kind of informations were very helpful in my career, which was coming after that. So if for anyone watching, if it's your career is going to start in a product company, then I feel that's the best thing that can happen to you. Then Honeywell was the time when I had also had the opportunity through the product to travel to few other countries like China, US, and these kind of countries are able to travel. And that was a good exposure. After that, I went to Singapore. So it was through a referral. One of my friend who was again a Honeywell colleague. So referred me, and then we went to Singapore. There we stayed about 8 years. And Robert Bosch was the primary experience over there. So it was an access control product. The Singapore experience also was very good. The working culture is way different compared to how we handle in India. So that was one major change. And of course, the exposure, we are able to meet from different streams of countries. So that was my second major part. And then although I was working for last like 18 plus years, there was always in mind that something you have to do on our own. It was there from day one of my career. Like in fact, before I was fully into this computer science as an engineer, I wanted to get into finance, the stock market trading, because I have explored a lot on this. I have learned a lot, but then due to various family reasons and personal reasons, could not proceed. But then after a few years, I started with something called YouTube channel for tech related gadgets. Then I stopped it after 2 months because it was quite difficult to carry out with multiple videos. And then again, I tried for Australia. I was trying for the Australian process when I was working in Honeywell, want to work abroad. Then I appeared for IELTS, PTE. Then I could not secure the full score. I want to get into only the highest one. I was trying for a lot. And then we started another website, which is called Stores, along with you. So we want to try out something like on the online sales related thing. For nearest home food is another website I tried. My point is, I was always trying to do something in parallel, so to keep us motivated. And on those lines, I started with this course, means teaching students when I was with Robert Bosch. So initially it was like only a hobby. So I was in fact just publishing in Udemy free for 6 months. I just post whatever I know, just post it. And then we can see the students enrolling and they ask the questions, we clarify. So this was an interesting journey. And slowly I started posting more. It was not from a finance point of view. It's more about keeping yourself engaged with what is happening in the tech circle. And it had helped me nice going forward. And then I decided at some point, okay, let's do it full time because we have been working as a software engineer for 15 plus years. Let's do something different. So this is the right time. And then I took the plunge. I planned a lot for 2 years before I took the decision to move full time as a course instructor. So I did it. I started as a full time course instructor last January, means Jan 2024. So it's been 1.5 years. So it's been good so far. So as you said, I'm now covering DevOps and then cloud and recently with GenAI as well. So the journey has been ups and downs. Mostly it is through friends, referrals, through the main this networking. So it has been gradually a stepping stone, and keep yourself motivated with whichever hobbies do you like. Yeah.
Got it. No, thanks for that summary. I learned a lot from listening to what you were sharing. Taking a few steps back, Praveen, I know you've come across several things. Honeywell happened, Bosch happened, Singapore happened, Udemy happened, a lot of things happened. Take us back to those days of even before you started your bachelor's in engineering for computer science. How was those days? Let's say right around, how was your early childhood days? Maybe talk a little bit about that, and maybe then we'll talk about the computer science aspect of it.
Yeah, sure. Actually, I come from a lower middle class family when I was into schooling. So finance was always a tough topic in our family. So that in fact motivated me to be best at the studies at those stage. So that's what we keep hearing, right? Like from your friends, relatives. So you have to do well, then the family comes up well. So this went well with me. So I feel I did good with studies during my schools. That really helped me to get a slot in one of the premier institute for engineering in Tamil Nadu. That is PHG College of Tech. It is considered like second best in Tamil Nadu. Okay, so it is considered as a second best institute in Tamil Nadu. So I was fortunate to get into it with computer science. But even during that time, it was the financial crunch was there. So even I studied through the education loans.
Which city were you in, Salem or Bangalore, or where were you actually at the time?
Okay, my entire studies, the secondary, college, everything happened in Coimbatore. Again, this is one of the city in South India, in the state called Tamil Nadu. So this is where I spent about 10 to 12 years of my studies in Coimbatore. So it's a very, very nice city. Even now, I'm very fond of that city.
Right.
Yeah, so I did my degree, the computer science in PhD Tech. That I feel is the biggest advantage because studying in those premier colleges is due to the Indian culture. So we get more opportunities for joining the companies. More companies will visit you for the placements. So fortunately, in this case as well, there were a lot of companies that visited us. So I was able to get offer up to 3 different firms. One is like a service company, another is a product company. And then as I said earlier, we can choose one of the company for doing the project. So in fact, we have three different options. Then I started the Honeywell journey. Even when during my studies, whether it's a school or college, I was very meticulous. Then I think back, I'm also surprised myself. I was able to pull that, because if you ask me to study that much now, I feel it's difficult. But that time it was good. But one thing I regret during my college days is I was a day scholar. I still now regret that I couldn't do I stay as a hostel. So because I see my friends, the hostel life is definitely very fun during the college days. I missed it. That's still okay. But for someone who is listening, if you are in a dilemma whether you should go for like a day scholar or a hostel, I strongly recommend the hostel life. It's not only about the fun in the hostel, it's about the exposure that you get. You see all of your friends is doing something, it is not like related to your studies or something on your higher studies, some projects. You'll get motivated yourself. Also, you'll see all your seniors, your super seniors, so everything are in the same place. So it's more about networking and the motivation that you get to achieve higher. So
Right.
I always feel that if you are into college, hostel life is the best, personally as well as for your career.
Got it. Got it. So you spent a lot of time. I was born, brought up in Coimbatore, by the way. I don't know if you know. I know the place really, really well. Avinashi Road, Pilamedu. That's where the college is, right? Like PhD Tech. I know that place really well. So thanks for sharing that. So you spent enough time there. So when was it like? So did you always wanted to do computer science? Or was it always in your thought? Okay, I'm going to, because I've seen people do EEE, ECE, and like different courses. Like, was computer science always in your mind even before picking the course?
Yes, actually, I was always fond of computer. Back then, because of personal reasons, I could not afford those PCs. Then after a long time, I was discussing with my father, and we took a loan to buy one small computer, which was a assembled computer, wherein everything is different brands. We just assembled together. And that was the first computer which I had, which had those CRT monitors, the big ones. I felt very happy. And even before that, there was one, when I was in 10th standard or grade 10, like that, there was a 1 month crash course in computer language. There is something called, I don't remember the language, something like CLI based one, star something. So that was the first time I touched the computer. I felt something special. It felt amazing to see that whatever we type comes in a screen, and we execute some command, it does some action. So that's when actually my fantasy or liking to computers started. And then during college days, okay, yeah, choosing a computer science, I can say 50% it was intentional, 50% it was through the guidance from one of my cousin. In fact, I actually wanted to do mechanical engineering, because back in those days, once you graduate from grade 12, as a student, we are not clear about what is the future, because everyone might be telling this is the best one as of now. They will guidance based on their experience. So you'll be very confused. So naturally, since I was in Coimbatore, PhD Tech is very famous for mechanical stream. So those mechanical engineers who came out of PhD Tech are considered like the best of the industry. So naturally, I was more inclined to that. And a strange incident happened. Let's say the next day morning was my counseling. Counseling is the process where, based on the marks that is achieved by the entire students from that state, they sort it by the descending order, and then they allocate the colleges. So this is a process that called as counseling. So that started. The next day morning was my counseling. Till that day, previous day night, I was convinced that I am going to take mechanical engineering. And then one of my close cousin, his name is Gopi. He visited my house. He was a graduate of PhD Tech production engineer. So he visited my house, and then we started discussing for almost like 2 to 3 hours. And then he convinced us, especially me, that computer science is the future. That is the current future as well as the real future as well. So we had a very lengthy discussion. He was trying to convince me why mechanical. It's not like that. He was telling that more than mechanical, computer science is the one to go. You have to choose CSC or IT. And then I got convinced. And the next day he also accompanied me. And then I took computer science. If I think back now, I feel that is another big decision that was made that was very good. I'm not sure what would have happened if I would chosen mechanical. I feel choosing computer science at that point through the guidance of him was one of the major turning point that really helped in shaping my career.
Got it. Got it. So after you were in PSG. You spent your next 4 years doing your computer science bachelor's in engineering. You finished that. You get placed. You get different offers from different companies. Then you finally chose Honeywell. How was that moment like? So you got the offer for Honeywell, and you're about to join. Describe that moment? How was it like? Because it's a next major step that you're taking at that point of time. At that time, you would have felt like, oh yeah, this is a completely different world you're entering to in terms of employment, and Honeywell being the global brand internationally. What was the whole scene like that day?
Yeah, actually, I'll come to this, but I just thought I want to share one more information during the college days. I feel that when you study at one of the premier institute, I feel the biggest advantage apart from getting the opportunity to have more offers is the people, means your own classmates, because they also come from like those kind of top people, whichever college you choose, or your people who are your classmates are on the same level as you. So when I also studied, I was able to work closely with my classmates who are also top of the academics. They were I had a very close relationship with three of my best friends who were amazing with programming at that point of time. Although they are into first year of engineering, but if we look at them, they were amazing with the programming and what they were doing at that point of time. So that also inspired me and also joined with them to keep learning myself. Now, if you see, they are all in very good streams. Like one of them is at IISc, he did well. And one is a couple of people are in US who did a PhD and MS. So my point here is when you think about the colleges, when you target for these kind of premier institutes, one of the main advantage which is your classmates. So that is going to define your future as well. Even now, if I see my classmates, they're in top of all of their fields. Many people, some have done a startup and some have been working in top MNCs throughout US, India. So you get natural motivation. If among 30 classmates, 20 are doing something, like say they're preparing for GRE, and say 15 of them are doing for learning some new language, which is way forward of that time, then you naturally feel yourself pressurized to do it, which is a good one. Yeah, that's one thing I want to highlight here.
Yeah. No. Let's dive into this topic. Yeah, share us some moments from your time at PSG. Like what is it like? Because like you have spent there, and like some interesting moment that comes to your mind. The moment you think PSG, what comes to your mind? Share some interesting pieces of information that like you have not shared otherwise.
Okay, yeah, sure. Let me.
The light? Is it the conference
room? It has got motion sensors.
So she keeps shaking.
Yeah.
Keep waving every 5 minutes. Yeah, we understand. All good.
Okay, so you were asking about the first
I was asking
Honeywell, is it?
No, I was asking. Yeah, we'll get to Honeywell. I was curious about your time at PSG. Was there I'm sure there are some interesting times. At the moment you think PSG, there are a few moments that come to your mind immediately. Share us the glimpses of some of those moments that you always cherish when you think PSG.
Yeah, there are many. First thing is, just like as mentioned, I was fortunate to have three of my friends who were best friends during college days, who were very good in their programming stuff. So that naturally had inspired me, and I worked closely with them for the next 3 to 4 years was my degree. So next 4 years, I was working closely with them, and I was able to upskill myself during those days. Some of my friends used to make fun of all four of us because generally it's playful time, but these guys are always doing some studies. So what we used to do is, we know that during college days, of course, there is a syllabus, there's a classes, teachers, but generally during exam is what we typically prepare on a rush and then appear for the exam. So those we have mandatory attendance like 80-90% is something. So we will attend the classes. But what we four people are doing is, we used to have these programming related books that we can get it from library. PG Tech had a amazing library as well. So we borrow the books and then we just keep under our desk and then study. So when the lecture class is going on some subjects, that's electrical or some subjects, we just have below the desk and then keep studying it. So we are doing it for a long time. So that was one, I think, one funny thing was happening there.
Yeah, very always like a studious kid, like from your childhood, and very always very always the teacher's favorite kid, like in class. Otherwise, just
No. Actually, I won't consider as a top ranker in my college days. Until school, I was very good. In college days, because we also have a cream of people from other streams throughout the state, so you have
Right.
competition. It also the focus was not on the scores. That was a good thing with college. So it was more about the skills. Because we know that we get some job, at least entry level job, we will be able to secure if you are into PhD tech in the computer science stream. So job is okay. So that's why you are trying to focus on the skills. Not much. Many of my friends also are not very particular about the scoring. We call it as CGPA, cumulative grade something.
Right.
Typically, the girls used to score higher as expected. There were only few very core companies who hires like one or two in the entire college who looks for those grades. Like they should be having minimum, they have a criteria. Like they should be from CSE, IT, those kind of streams. And then they should have secured the CGPA has 9 and above out of 10. So only those companies used to look for those academic score. Otherwise, generally, companies were more focused on the actual interview that they keep. The interview will be like 8 and above, 7 and above, so that should be okay.
Got it.
This was one thing. And second interesting thing happened, I just now mentioned, is about the library. Actually, I am always curious to read. I don't read too many books, but I read books, but I read very focused. So PhD Tech during that time renovated their library. Earlier it was like a bit old, now renovated. Then it was very, very inspiring, that place as well. All the magazines, they have a subscription for all the magazines from IEEE, normal magazines like Reader's Digest, India Today, and even Finance, all these. So, of course, I don't go into IEEE stuff. It's very advanced for me. But those magazines are able to read and then try to see what is happening. So, all these are first time for me. I have never read magazine earlier, before that. Library also played one of the important part. Even now, I feel books are one of the main source of your knowledge. So even now, I keep a tab on the books, mostly into finance nowadays. Of course, to programming related stuff as well.
Got it. What was a book or two that you remember from that period when you're doing your engineering? What stood out like as a book, like while you're doing your finishing your 12th standard or?
No, I started reading book only during college, but that time it was only technical, means the academic books, not the fiction one, or not those kind of books. It's a academic one, but the magazines were something like the current affairs, because that time the pressure was to appear for the GATE exam, or those for MBA we have something called CAT, CAT entrance exam. So we used to prepare for that. For that, the prerequisite is you have to keep ahead of all this happening. So as part of that, you used to learn that. But after this not kind of normal books, I started reading only after the graduation.
Right. Awesome. Finishing engineering, then you're now just bringing back the conversation of like Honeywell. So you're, I know Honeywell because like we spent time there. So how was that period, Praveen? Like I came into Honeywell only in 2008 actually, like late, like 2008. That's when I joined. But like, yeah, I know you started earlier, I think around 2006 or something like that, right? So how was that moment? Now it's a complete shift from, okay, you finished graduation, you finished your engineering, and now you're going into employment and to Honeywell. How was that moment like? Describe that for us. And how significant was it for your family, and how was the whole experience? How was it taken? And you go share the information with your friends and family. How was it thing whole received, and what was your experience like?
Yeah,
because this is your story, your journey. So we want to take it all from what happened during that period.
Yeah, sure. Like I mentioned earlier, because of upbringing of myself from lower middle class family, so finance was always a tough choice for us. So it was a given that I have to earn from day one of my graduation. So that was there since almost like 8 to 10 years, even before I joined college. So that pressure was always there. So even when I go to any relative's house, anywhere. So they keep reminding me that your family is waiting for you to start earning. So the pressure was there that I felt, okay, it's good. So the first main change happened is the first salary. Once it came, as obviously because of these reasons, I had a lot of debts. The family had a lot of debts, including my education also was happened through my education loan. And my sister also, I have my elder sister. So we also had education loan for her. So there are lots of debts. So once I got the salary, and then I like being meticulous. So I created an Excel file. So I sat with my father and then created a sheet that how much we owe for this person, this set of persons. So I like that I wrote on Excel. So it came like multiple lines, including the education loan and whatever you were the minor ones. I wrote it down, and then that was my first goal: clear off all this. So for every month, a few percentage of it I allocated for clearing these debts, and then slowly I started striking off that. That was a very proud moment, I believe, for my parents as well. So that was one angle from the family point of view. Of course, they are very happy. My finance situation, my family started improving from that day, started earning. So that was good. Coming back to Honeywell, again, as I said earlier, that was, I feel, it gave me a strong base to where I am now. The main reason is the product that I work being a real product. It's not a service. It's a pure product, and also the people that are able to work. It was in Bangalore. So Bangalore is considered in India as the capital for computer science, basically the software programmers. Even now, Bangalore is considered the city that has the highest number of programmers and companies, which means you get to meet people from different parts of India. That's one main change compared to other places. Like when I worked in Honeywell, I had my colleagues who are from different states like Andhra, Karnataka, Kerala, and North India, Punjab, Delhi, like that. So what happens is we have never met them. Means I have personally never met anyone apart from Tamil Nadu, the state where I am. Outside from that state, I have never met. That was the first time I'm meeting those people outside Tamil Nadu. Also, Bangalore was the first city outside Tamil Nadu for me after that graduation. Until then, my entire 21 years was only within that single state, Tamil Nadu. So
Right.
that was very interesting. So I was able to work with those kind of people. They're also from similar profiles. They just like a fresher. So everyone were like a fresher along with me. And the managers were very cool, and they were able to guide me better. Especially my own primary manager was very helpful. Initially, I felt I regretted joining. As I told you before, I wanted to do stock market trading, and once I graduated and joined the company, whatever we learned during 4 days, 4 years of engineering was a bookish knowledge. But this is actually a practical one. It was way different than what I expected. When you suddenly land into a real product and they start assigning you the core work, I literally was not sure what to do. Like the time the programming now stack was .NET. That was the language used there. I literally, although I know basic ones like C, C++, the .NET, something felt it was very different. Even those concepts like events, they are very alien to me. But fortunately, the manager was able to understand all this. They're able to guide properly. So the managers and colleagues were very helpful. And even I'm in touch with those colleagues. We have a WhatsApp group. We used to chat. Even I met some during when I went to Bangalore, I think 6 months back. So some of them also into higher streams, upper streams, because now it's almost like 15 plus years. So one of my close friend, he even did a startup and he's doing those lines. And some are into other managerial positions. So naturally, you also get inspired by seeing them.
Right.
Yeah, that was an interesting.
Talk about the thing. I mean, you brought up something interesting because like the what you experience while learning it, computer science versus like how when you're actually, it's like being in, I don't know, development versus production. It's not like that actually. Maybe I should rephrase it. It's what you see in the books is very different than when you actually execute for projects.
Yes.
Right. I felt it too. Bala Gurusamy, do you remember Bala?
Yes.
C++ author, one of the famous authors for C++ at the time. I don't remember any other authors from that time, but like reading a book was actually doing a client project was very different. Like, describe the difference.
Yeah. So during my computer science study, that 4 years, That time, like you said, Bala Guruswami, and then some other authors is like, we have a very famous book at that point, that point, let us see. It's about
Yeah.
C programming. It is by
Right.
I think Kanikar. Yeah.
Right.
So those books you have to explain the concept of C, but what they were focusing is very strange form of questions, like what happened. Like we have pointers concept in C. So the questions after the lesson will be something like, you put lot of pointers here, there, lengthy one, plus into, and then you try to ask us what will be the answer of this. I mean, the intention is to we understand whether the operator precedence, all is taken care like that. But although we can do it at the production, when you go into real project, none of thing we are going to use it. No one is going to write a single line of code which is going to have more than one effect. So that's what we say in programming, right? When you write a single line of code, should have only one effect. You should not do multiple things. So multiple, just do it multiple lines. So that's a transition. So I was into the more bookish knowledge about, okay, what is the theoretical part, but when you get into the real time project, it was completely different. So the first task given to me, I needed to use the events concept of .NET events. Consider basic for .NET, but that point of time, I was not sure about events. When I was working as a trainee in Honeywell, I asked my manager. He explained a little bit, but still I didn't understand. I slacked for almost 5 days with the task. My primary manager used to come and ask what's happening. I used to tell him something, but then at the end of the 5th day, I decided, okay, it's not going to work out. Let's be honest. Then I went to my manager and said, I'm not understanding this. Can you explain? Then he started explaining me the concepts. Then slowly, I started getting to the practical aspects. So those were some interesting times. So yeah, so definitely when you graduate and then get into enterprise companies, there will be a tough transition. I think you have to get through it. But I feel nowadays it's better because we have lots of learning resources compared to those times. Because those times,
Right.
the only main thing was documentation and a big set of books. But now we have more interactive things like courses and then audio. Then we have the Gen AI. So all this is making you more easier to learn.
At the time, I remember subscription to MSDN subscription was like a mandate. You need to have an MSDN subscription because that was like the encyclopedia of all the Microsoft developer network, right? So that was needed. We don't have MSDN, so MSDN is a must-have. And today, when I think back, like no one talks about MSDN.
Actually, there is also one important point on this aspect is, yes, of course, MSDN was the backbone during that time. We had a offline, what is it, CHM file we used to refer. That brings actually to one important point with respect to the career growth. The first company that we work, it matters, and it creates a benchmark for your future growth. So in my case, I joined the product company and they were into the development stack was Microsoft. So it was a .NET based one. That was the base. So my entire career, even till now, is based on .NET. So I became Microsoft developer, really. So whether it's my Honeywell 10 years journey and Singapore 8 years, everything was in .NET. And when the cloud came, it was with Microsoft Azure. So I came very close with this Microsoft ecosystem. So if some of my friends, the same Honeywell, had worked in other products, who are my classmates who joined in other teams, they went into Java and those kind of things. Those guys are still there in Java, although they are working now in US. Even in Honeywell, they are in Java, those kind of teams. So my point is, the first job that you take up, it matters with respect to what tech stack you are working. Fortunately, I was able to work with .NET, which I had no idea at that point of time. It happened that I need to work in .NET. That was the task given, and I felt it was one of the good thing happened. So everything was based on Microsoft technologies from that point onwards. It was a .NET, then Microsoft Azure. So even now, when I do even online courses, so my tech stack is very clear. So I'm into cloud. Of course, we have many. AWS is considered better than Azure in terms of certifications, even revenues, all this. And also we have Google catching up. They are more easier to configure than Azure. But I stick with Azure because my experience is with Azure. So that decision that we took, it's not a decision. The coincidence that happened almost 18 years back is still continuing. So even going forward, I most likely will be sticking with Microsoft Azure.
Got it. Got it. No, very well said. Because it forms the foundation, and that foundation
Yeah.
is helpful for if you want to build anything more, add more to the foundation. Definitely, Microsoft had a terrific foundation with Visual Studio and .NET Framework 1.
Yes, I got so much used to Visual Studio. When you the auto completion, when you press dot, the next thing gets showed up. I got go so used to it. So when we move into some other scripting language or something, when those auto completion was not there, I felt okay, I'm missing something.
Right. Awesome. So what was like? So you started with. We don't have to go into the actual products because these are like proprietary world-class products, and they have their own IP things, and we don't want to really discuss the actual quote-unquote products. You spent like so what was the time around? When did the transition happen, Praveen? Like, was it around 2014? You made the switch to go to Singapore. Was it around 2014?
Yeah, 2016 or
Right.
So 2006 is when I graduated and joined Honeywell, and then
Got it.
2000.
Got it. So you
So 16 is what I believe I went to Singapore.
got it. So you spent 10 years in Honeywell, and after that, you took the change. Awesome. I have something interesting to show you. Let me show that. I thought it will come later in the conversation, but it kind of came. So I have to bring it up. There is no other way. So two things I want to show. One is this. All right. So this is something I wanted to show. Do you remember this logo, Praveen?
Yes. Yeah, this is the nearest home food is one of the kind of a small startup. Me and Vijayan started when we were in Honeywell. Actually, that time the idea behind this was seeing my mother. Like she was a homemaker that point of time, and she's very just like any other our parents' mother. She's also good in cooking. So I was thinking, what can we do to make her engaged? Something which makes her also feel motivated. Then I was thinking, food is something that she is good. Then this concept was not there, like delivering the home food to the nearby localities. Then I was thinking, okay, we can do something on this. So I thought of this idea like let's do nearest home food, which as the name says, the intention is two things. One is bringing all the mothers who are good in cooking, so they can cook, and the other part is those who want to consume. Like being in Bangalore, we know that many were bachelors. We were looking out for good foods. So I thought we can bridge these two people. Then I spent a lot of time because all these website, WordPress, YouTube, all were completely new at that point of time. Then we both sat together, and then I also discussed with you, and then we started exploring WordPress, everything from scratch, under no guidance. Everything was under on our own. We were browsing internet. At that time, we don't have these much resources compared to now. But that time it was more only Google search, and then everything you do on your own, not much guidance. So spent a lot of time doing that. But then by the time we finished, it was ready for launch. But then we stopped. That's okay. One of the reason is the stop in a sense we needed. There are multiple reasons behind that. Like we needed delivery partners, but my intention that time was not till that much level. My intention was like then that flat only. Like if you're staying in a flat, which is like an apartment, there are like 50 families. So some mothers can cook, and some people within that apartment can consume. No travel related hassle. But then when you also joined with me, then we discussed these kind of points. Then we created brochures, logos, WordPress. But that experience was very nice. Not only this nearest home food, like I said earlier, I tried multiple small things. This is nearest home food is one, and then the tech YouTube channel, which I named as Gadgets Praveen. That was one. And then I also did the stores as the another one. And then I guess I did some tech YouTube as well. So all this added, although it didn't continue, but all those experiences matters, and it helps even now. That's one thing I want to share for viewers as well. Like for example, I will tell you one more thing. Okay, if I consider this nearest home food itself, we learned about WordPress and we learned about YouTube. and then how to create a channel, how to create the video, marketing, SEO, lot of stuff learned with nearest home food. All this is helpful even now, although we didn't continue with that one. Similarly, if I try to take any other things like switched off. Okay, so another point I want to make here is I was saying that I was preparing for Australia PR during Honeywell because I wanted to work abroad for some time because I like that exposure there. So during that time, I tried for IELTS and then PTE. That time, Australia for computer science graduates, we need a score of I guess 65. So it means based on our profile for IELTS, we need to get 8. So I have to make it short, I have appeared for IELTS, I think twice or thrice, and then I have appeared for PTE, a similar one, different format, computer-based format for 2 times. So almost 4 to 5 times I have appeared. But for every time, because you know the format, right? They have 4 things:
Right.
reading, listening, writing, speaking. So in one string, it will be like 0.5 less. So because of this, I was not eligible for that year. And the point I'm trying to make here is, although then I dropped that idea, then Singapore happened, so I dropped the idea of Australia PR. But all my learnings with preparation of this IELTS, PTE is another main backbone of my current work. Because whatever the speaking skills and especially the writing skill at that point. For example, when I do the online courses now, some courses I do through scripting. Means we record and then we script and then we do that process. How do you write the script? Of course, anyone can write some sentences, but when you prepare for IELTS, we naturally try to look for the best structure. So we have many tutorials for that. So we learn that writing skill helped me here. So they say that if you, for a given topic, you should organize in certain structure. You should split into like 4 main points. There should be introduction, 4 main points as a 4 paragraph, and 1 conclusion. So each point should have the first paragraph should start with the first line as the main line, then supporting points. So this is the general structure of writing skill. That concept helps me even now. In fact, even I've been teaching this format to my daughter as well for her English essays writing in the schools. I gave the same format to her. So for any given point, you do this is kind of a template. So the overall point I'm trying to make is, whatever we learn throughout our journey, although we may not have taken it fully forward. For example, in the case of website, Nearest Home Food, we didn't take it forward. The various YouTube channels I created, I didn't take it forward. But all those skills added up. And when I started doing this online course, everything came together. Yeah. Right. So don't think that you wasted your time when you learned something new skill. It comes back to you and helps you in your future.
Something, after our Honeywell period and things like that, I moved to West and you moved to Singapore and all that happened. Something I'm learning more and more is like skills are getting commoditized. Right. And we spoke a lot about skills. For a long time, I'm into that, like, okay, fine, let's do C. My experience of learning was like when I learned C, I didn't understand anything. When I learned C++, I understood C. When I was actually learning like Java, then I understood C++. That was my experience, actually. People tell me like that was their similar experience as well. I was all about like skills and whatnot and everything. But when I saw some of the skills getting commoditized, how do I put it in words, right? Like, let's say when the skills become productized, right? For example, okay, fine. Like we have Fiverr, we have Upwork, and like, okay, fine. So in Azure language, if I have to speak, there is an Azure function, right? Like, let's say we need to get something done. We call that Azure function, for example, right? So now skills are becoming that. I need to write a single page application of something. And let's say I need to get it done and it's getting commoditized. Okay, fine. Let's spend $50 and get that written, right? That is something I observed like in the last several 10 plus years. That is something I'm observing actually. So how do you see that pattern? Because like for a long time, it was all about skill building and everything. And like, was that your experience? Have you observed it? Like, what are your quick thoughts on that?
Okay, when you consider my personal experience, if you consider myself, I'm basically a backend engineer, backend .NET developer, which means I am aware of only those technologies which is in the backend services. I don't know the front-end technologies. I'm not a front-end developer, which means I don't know about even not much about JavaScript, no Angular. I don't know any of this. So the point I'm trying to make here is you don't need to know everything. This one point I want to make to freshers or who are into beginning. You consider even myself as an example. To be frank, I don't know JavaScript. I know JavaScript is a fundamental, this is a basic, but I don't know JavaScript. I don't know any of the front end like Angular, React. I don't know any of these things. But these are the hot topics, and maybe the pay is more for that. But stick with what is your core skill. So my core skill was with .NET developer as a backend developer. I have experience with databases. So still now I used to stick to that. Whether it's Honeywell or it's Singapore, everywhere I just continued my same skill set. I didn't keep trying to look for like, oh, this is front. This is for instance, even Python I didn't learn until 2 years back. Although Python was very hot during that time, I didn't learn. I don't know Java. I don't know Python. So only pure .NET. I just keep upskilling in the .NET because computer science is such a big stream. We cannot achieve everything. So it's better that we focus on one or two stacks and then try to be expert in that area. Although you don't need to aim for very high experts, like you want to go and talk in conferences, just focus on that skill path. That will be very beneficial. So that is what I follow. So even when I make these online courses, also I stick to one or two main learning paths. Actually speaking, in within the tech circle, like I said, AWS is financially point of view, from course instructor point of view. If I make Azure's instead of Azure certification, if I make AWS certification, maybe the payout is more. I may earn with more there. Also, instead of focusing on .NET, if I just focus on Python related ones, and then I may definitely will get more. But I'm not saying don't do that. I'm just telling, don't spend too much time trying to learn everything. No one is expecting that. If at all you see a profile, sometimes I see a LinkedIn job requirement that says the prerequisites or the list of criteria. For example, in database, they will list out all 10 databases like Microsoft SQL Server, SQL,
Kenya.
yeah, everything. Then I just ignore them because it clearly means that they are not focused. So they just whether the HR didn't structure it properly or the really requirement is not that clear. So I will be very explicit in my interviews as well. When I appear for interviews in Singapore to different firms, I just tell them clearly, I know only this. I know .NET, I know this, I know APIs. And then they ask me based on that. If at all any new thing comes, I can learn. I don't try to do a false claim that I know Java and then I know Python and then I'll start learning after onboarding.
Right.
I won't do that. Personally, this has helped me as well. This is what point. Focus on your core skills is one. Second is I like SaaS products, like software as a service, which means you can, SaaS products are something like, in layman terms, like we have the Google Drive. This is a SaaS product. Instead of storing documents in local, just upload to Google Drive. It's a very simple example. Like that, we have many SaaS products. Like, okay, Netflix, Prime videos are kind of one, but it's more about entertainment. But if you see the productivity, I in fact try many things. Like for example, even to manage finance, budgeting, I try to use software. I like paid softwares than free softwares. It's I know it's fundamentally against the usual tradition. And also I have discussed this with my friends, even my wife. Many will be against paying, especially my friends. Even they may be earning a lot, but they tend to not pay. I have done my best convincing them that paying for a SaaS product is the best way to spend money. Even a very small thing. For example, in Singapore, we have an app where we can track the bus location. Like
Right.
that is an app developed by one company, and then it shows that in the bus stop near your home, which bus is coming. It will show you the next 3 buses will come at which time. Next is at 3 minutes, next is at 10 minutes, the next one is at 15 minutes. And it will be color coded how crowded it is that bus. So this is one very useful app, is very accurate, but the free version will contain an ad at the bottom, which will be a flashing ad. This app I have used for the entire 8 years, but of course we don't need to pay for this. To remove that ad, you have to pay $1. And so $1 if you pay, then the ads are ad free that time. Then Raider for it was Android, it was like that, pay one time. But for iOS, it was like, since nature of iOS is like yearly, so it was $1 every year. I paid. First thing I did is I paid. The reason behind this is the experience it gives is a lot better. The $1 is worth spending because you don't see. We use that app minimum 2 times per day, and then I don't want to see those ads. It is distracting. These apps are used by my friends as well. Convince them, just spend $1 and then get rid of these ads. But consuming apps and digital things for free is the considered general norm. But I am in fact against it, meaning that I'm not saying don't consume free. I'm just saying try to see what advantage the paid version gives, and if you feel it is worth, don't worry about spending that money. You spend it. Similarly, when it came to budgeting apps, I spend almost like now it's $100 per year for a budgeting app. Using that app was my breakthrough in my finance career. Using that app, it completely changed the way I budget. But that is paid version, and it was $100 a year, which is coming around 8,500 rupees, Indian rupees per year, which is considered a lot in Indian money terms. But I feel that 8,500 is worth spending. It changes the way I handle money. So to keep it short, my point is outsourcing the task is good if it improves your own productivity. If you going to spend $100 per month and then you are able to free up that time is available for you for your own personal growth. So I don't want to use a Google Excel. Of course, I used Google Google Sheet for 10 plus years to manage my finances from day one of my graduation. Once I got into the budgeting app that I use, I stopped using that. So the point is, so if you able to outsource it, then you free up your own time. If I had used my I could have easily developed that same app myself. It's a very simple app. It's just a calculation. Many people were telling that forum, just when they hiked the price, many were telling, just let's build our own app. But my point with that, even that time was, it's better to spend $50 per year to that company instead of developing on my own. Because if I develop my own, I have to take care of everything. I have to update the version when the Mac OS or the iOS updates, and then there is API changes, they have to update. I don't know, I have to test it thoroughly, and then I have to add new features. But when you spend that $50, you are getting a benefit of all of this. In fact, not only you, and all those customers are testers. So they inform those issues to the developer, they fix it. So literally, I'm getting everything covered. But we spend that 50. So if I had done myself, I would have spent that many number of hours. But now I'm able to use those hours for something else.
Got it. No, I love that answer. If it's like saving a time, even like 30 minutes a day or even an hour a day, it might be worth it, because time is the ultimate currency, right? Time is something you don't get back. And if it can save time, then it's maybe as well be worth it. I just have one question on, like a follow-up question on that, Praveen. It's like, what do you think of the open source thing? I mean, Microsoft was a big advertised seller of like Windows 95, 98, Windows 2000, Windows NT came. Then it was all productized, Microsoft Office and everything. They so slowly transitioned into the open source model. After very late. They're quite late into the open source whole market. How do you see that? Because they were like, okay, fine, pay $100 for the Windows OS and you get this. And now it's like, oh, GitHub and so many others. How do you see that transition from being a product to an open source thing? And what are your thoughts on it?
I don't deal much with open source. Yes, as you rightly said, Microsoft usually their products were paid offerings. They're mostly into enterprise. I know everyone has Windows OS in their homes, and we used to have pirated versions as a student, but their main market was enterprise. So in enterprise, you see each license that we take it for granted as a normal home user, Microsoft Office and Windows OS is very expensive. The genuine license, they have multiple tiers like professional, enterprise, all these, which runs into thousands of dollars per year. So their revenue model was main enterprise. And of course, recently they have moved to open source. Maybe I feel it's because of the nature of the tech landscape as well. So everything is now open source, like Kubernetes, Docker. So whatever technology we use now, everything is open source. Yeah, so I think they are also going to that direction. In fact,
the reason I asked that question is because, like, on the one side, SaaS companies are like trying to do a lot of things. Okay, $10 a month or whatever, right? They're trying to put a price tag on it. And on the other side, there is an open source movement that's happening overall as a tech community. It's all, there's a push to be open source, right? So how do you see it actually? Because you are the person who loves to pay for the SaaS products. And
Even
there's also this open source. How do you see that? Was something I was curious.
No, yeah, maybe one part is open source, but the revenue model is coming from some other product. For example, even Microsoft, although the .NET is open source now, but they're making money with Visual Studio license. As I said earlier, Visual Studio license is not cheap. It runs even the professional edition is something like $3,000 per month per person per programmer. So if you have a team of 10 people, that itself runs into $20,000 per year. It's a recurring one. So I feel their revenue is a different set of products. So even if you consider this GitHub is free to access, but it's free only for public repositories, right? So if it's a private repository, then you have to go for their higher tier, which is you have to pay some $10 or some, depending on the team size, you have to pay. So even the GitHub free is only for the public domain. And also the GitHub Copilot I have used. The free version, I think they give some few completions as free, but obviously the paid version is better. I myself have subscribed, not for GitHub. I keep trying. In the case of Gen AI, this latest AI related domain, I have been exploring a lot. So I keep trying all the services then and there. So I'm happy to pay. So I pay every month $25. So even now I'm paying $20 for the Cursor AI. That's the current one I'm using. I have paid for a GitHub Copilot a couple of months back. It's okay. Even my stand remains the same. If you're going to be a IDE user, like whether it's a VS Code or like say any of the LLMs like GitHub Copilot or Cursor or whatever, I feel it is worth spending that $20 that they charge now. The amount of productivity gain or the boost that I personally have experienced by using those premium features makes those $20 worth for me.
Right.
Got it. If you are someone who is using the services, just try out. Just spend. The good thing with all these LLM-based services as of now, it's not a yearly commitment. So most of them is good with monthly subscriptions. It's not a yearly one. You just try out. Just try for 1 month. It's $20. I think it's well spent. The $20 because if you go for a movie, then have one drinks and the popcorn, it's going to cost $20. So you just consider like one movie screening session. I mean, you want to use it for one entire month.
Got it. Speak about the teaching, the whole thing about Udemy and teaching, and when did that crossroads happen? Like I know you were in Singapore and Bosch and things like that, and I think you have a natural incline towards teaching something. I've worked with you previously, and I think the way you narrate the stuff or you explain stuff, I often feel like, okay, fine. I don't feel that you don't give that professor vibe, but at the same time, you have a natural talent to teach it better. Like I've felt that actually, even let's say you're talking about the shortcuts in Visual Studio, Control Shift B or what. So when did that like the Udemy crossroads happen?
Yeah. Actually, even during my college days, someone will ask like, "You have the exams?" Then we generally study just one day before that. So I used to that time quickly finish the task, those lessons in hand, and then I just teach my fellow classmates of those topics. That was one point. And then during my journey with Honeywell, there are many. I was a focal for few of things like database, API, these things. So whenever new people joined, I need to groom them those topics, and then I gave a section on this database stuff, and then various topics. Slowly it became that explaining things to others, so it became something like a practice. So it happened, and then I used to teach on other topics as well. For example, I started getting fond of finance from day one. So although I didn't go into stock market full time that time, but I always that stock finance was always there in my mind in the corner. I used to learn technical analysis. So you have to keep learning. I used to keep motivate my colleagues in Honeywell as well to learn that. So what we did is I told them I am ready to teach to I think 4 or 5 of my colleagues. And then what we did is a funny thing, like the office starts at say 9 o'clock. I told them I will come at 7:30. I will teach you for 1 hour every day about stocks, how to analyze using technical analysis, I'll explain you how to buy all this finance stuff. I'll teach you. So we started that. So I think it ran for a few days, where they came and then I teach them these finance topics before the office timing started. So that was also one nice journey. Yeah, and then Udemy, it happened based on all these. Like then I went to Singapore. Singapore also it happened similar. Like I was one of the most senior resource there. The whoever joined new one, I used to do the knowledge transfer, and then I used to explain them everything. So it became like I keep explaining stuff to people. Then I thought, okay, since I was telling you that, I keep thinking what we can do something parallel in parallel apart from the job 9 to 6 job. Then I came across something called course. All of a sudden I keep browsing. Then I saw a word called course. Then I went, what is that course? Then I came to know that they're telling a shortcut. It was a clickbait article telling that earn quick money, something like that. What their focus was, take one book, learn the book, make a course out of it, then you make money. Maybe that worked that time point of view, where the course niche was just getting started. But what that showed me is there is some concept called course, where it's organized way of teaching. If you have one topic, you can organize the contents into sections and lectures, and then you can record it once. It can be played back by multiple times. That was something very interesting at that point of time, because so far everything I did was like 1:1, or say 1:m, but it's real time. It's done. Once you explain some concept to someone in my conference room, in my team, in my company, it's done. Next time I have to repeat the same thing again when another employee joins. So this way, look something interesting. It looks like put an effort once and then it comes again. Looks like it's a passive income. The passive income is what I was searching for that time. Then this came. But actually speaking, course making is not a passive income. If you get into it, then you will understand, because you'll get outdated very soon. Someone will take over. So you have to keep updating it. So that's when I came to know this. Then I thought, okay, let's try it out. Then I started learning more about this course. Then I thought I'm going to do YouTube on this. Then I discussed this concept. I decided that I will make another YouTube channel. It's about the technical in the sense, these technical concepts I'm going to explain. I decided, I created the channel. Then I discussed with another one of my friend who was my classmate in PhD Tech. He had his own startup at that point itself. So I had a chat with him that this is my idea. Then he told me that why you need to do that, because YouTube video is the revenue is based on the ads. Then he told me there is something company called Udemy. There everything is paid. It means you put your content there, then the student has to pay. Then only you will get it. Then that is when I heard about the keyword Udemy. Then for the next 2 months, I spent a lot researching about Udemy. I went through their documents, official documents. Then I thought, okay, this is the one that we should try next. Then I spent another 1 month trying to see how to create my initial. Then I created my first course. It is called Fundamentals of Programming, which basically is for any layman, like you can be in the sales or marketing. You just want to know about what is programming, you can take this course. That was my focus that time. Fundamentals of programming language. The thing is, it was done with very minimal infrastructure. I just used my EP laptop, personal laptop, that was very slow that point of time. And then mic, I just used, I think headset, something I used. That's all. No lightings, nothing. So the slides also was very basic. I created and then I published. I made it free. Initially, my intention was not pay that time, so I just published as free. The interesting thing is that course is still, even now it is live. Even now, someone is still buying that course. It's almost like 5+ years for publishing. If I go back to that course, I see based on the quality that I made, it's not that great compared to how I can make now, because we learn so many things, course making process, we can improve, but people are still buying. So my point is, that's when it started. Then I made one more course, which I know is .NET. So I made a course like C# Basics. That is my second course. I published it. Then I made a third course, C# Advanced, which is kind of object-oriented programming. So like that, I published 4 courses. All 4 are free. I made free for 6 months. So I just see people coming in. I just ask the questions, I answer. So it was very interesting. So I felt it was a nice hobby. Then I thought, okay, let's make it paid one. There is an option to make it pay. Then I turned it to paid versions. The first revenue was $2. So for my first month revenue after launching the course for 6 months, which means from day one when I know Udemy, all the course, it took me 8 months. to earn my first dollar. It was $2 was my first revenue. Of course, as I said, revenue was not the main intention, but it matters. That $2 is my beginning journey through course. Then I started making more courses. But even then, my primary focus was to upskill, because the product that I worked in Honeywell, not Honeywell, in Singapore, was in some different technology. It cannot happen that you able to work in the tech stack that you are passionate about, or it's all about the current job in hand. So what I did is I took this as a learning opportunity and challenge, and then learned new language, made a course out of it, so that I can upskill myself.
Right.
This is where this is how I created more courses and then increased the catalog. So the focus was to upskill and make it as a hobby. And then after a few years, you have to do something on your own thing, keep sparking more. Then I felt, okay, let's try it full time. Then I again planned for 2 years. I discussed with my wife, and then I need to do a lot of planning, because going from employee to self-employment is not an easy one. Also, we are as a family, so we have to get the finance in track. So I saved some, and then I convinced my wife that we can manage somehow. And then she also was very cooperative. I feel this is also main thing to know: spouse approval. The spouse should be understandable with whatever you are doing. So that will solve 50% of your problem. So fortunately, my wife was very cooperative, understandable, and then we pulled the plug. I came to India from Singapore 1.5 years back to make it full time. I feel it's one of the good decision. So it's been going good so far.
Good. Very nice. So two things that came out was, one thing in Twitter, they often, you see this word called DYOR, means do your own research. The two things that came out of this conversation, knowing you, is that one is you're very, I think you've mastered the art of doing your own research. You want to know about a topic, Udemy or stocks or anything, or WordPress for that matter, or Azure, I think you spend considerable time in terms of like researching it, analyzing it, understanding it, and describe that process. And the other thing that came out is planning. You are a master planner. You plan clearly in terms of like, I don't think you like, I don't, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're not a big fan of surprises or anything like that. You want to have like a clear plan of like a step 1, step 2, step 3. You want a clear plan of execution, whether it's like family, finances, or a project execution. That's what I'm realizing. Correct me if I'm wrong. But explain the concept of your, like, how do you research? How do you plan? Go into that a little bit. I'm sure like people will find value in understanding how you approach it.
Yeah, correct. Yes, I tend to be meticulous. I'm not saying this to boast myself, but it helps being meticulous. Like, be it anything, like you're going for some outing, like say for a family trip, then I plan end to end. So I have a checklist, and then I prepare which flight to book, which one I research a lot, and then I note down everything. And then when you're visiting that place, where are things to go, which time we will start. So all this I will do. It's a personal, during personal journeys. Even for anything related to academic also, it happens. Like course making also is that similar process. Need to research a lot. So we do it. I feel the habit of this came because of my personal circumstances as well. Like as I told you earlier, I came from, my background from my school days is financial crunch. So at any point of time, my primary goal should not go back to that same time. So I cannot take ad hoc decisions. Although it may be possible in some family or some countries, which is okay. But in my case, I cannot take it. For example, I was in Singapore. I cannot just say that, okay, let's go to India and let me try for a few things. Few people will tell that, okay, you just take that new stream, try for 6 months and then come back and then continue it. But I don't believe in that. I won't say I won't believe, but I don't want to get into that. I want to be at least 99% sure that it will work. Otherwise, I don't want to take that risk. I don't want to go back to those stages of those financial crunch, especially. That's why any move that I make, I'll be very careful. Even if I get delays by 1 year, I'm okay. But I research a lot. I feel sometimes doing too much research. I read some books where they say action is more important than planning. Anyone can plan. Anyone can plan for even 2 years. But what the action you take is important. Although it's true, but I am okay to knowingly plan, spend time in planning, and then before taking the action. So be it everything like switching a company is a little bit effort, but moving across country was one like Singapore to India was one major decision that, as I said earlier, I researched on that for 2 years. 2 years in the sense not about the online course, not that process, whether to move to India, whether we can, how we will manage, how we will manage the schools. So these kind of things I researched a lot for 2 years, lots of Excel sheets, lots of budgetings. I budgeted even 1 rupee level how I will manage in India once I move. I had a clear budget, clear vision of what is my monthly spend and how much I have saved, and the budget included everything that we can think of, including the school fee, transportation for her. Okay, if you go to India, we'll buy a car petrol price, car insurance, groceries, electricity, phone, broadband, everything to it. That was required. So that it gives two main reasons. One is it gives confidence to you, like, okay, you know what is going to happen. It gives you confidence. Next is it gives confidence to your wife as well. As I said earlier, without your spouse, this kind of decision is not easy. Like, for instance, although I am interested, I'm very focused, and I feel that I'm confident I can pull this. But if your wife thinks that she likes 9 to 6 job better because of stability, although the earnings might be less, this is better. Of course, there is no, it's not wrong. But I'm just telling that your spouse also to be on the similar page to accept to some extent is a big thing. Right. So I was fortunate in my case, and she was getting convinced because of the way I keep presented her the statistics. It's not like one day I told her, she told okay. Almost for 2 years, I keep her showing the progress, and then showing her what we will do. This is the budget, and this is the exact amount, and this is the current balance. So I keep showing her the practical aspect. Then only she also got more confidence in what we do. So all this comes into this meticulous planning. So even now, when I think of venturing out for something else, I spend a lot of time thinking on these aspects.
Right.
I feel it makes my character.
Right. Praveen, that's the Praveen Kumar Bouna. So going from Coimbatore to Bangalore to Singapore, now back in Chennai, correct?
Yes.
Chennai, how would you sum up in few words if you want to talk about the last probably 20 years? How would you sum that up in a few words or sentences?
Okay. There are 2 to 3 main things I will maybe is helpful for anyone who is listening. The first thing is you should have patience. Actually, to be frank, I don't have patience. I usually like getting things faster. I just want now. I don't have patience earlier. But through my personal experience, I learned this. Patience pays off. Like, as I said before, during my first month of joining the corporate world, I want to quit. I want to do stock market trading. That was I was very 100% convinced that I need to do it. But due to personal reasons, family situation, I was not allowed and I could not do it as well. But I didn't stop that. I keep learning about it parallelly. I want to do it full time. So I keep learning parallel. And then once I went to Singapore, then I came to know about mutual funds. And then I started investing on these mutual funds. And then slowly, I was able to apply what I learned earlier. Now, when I want to choose something, whatever I learned 10 years back is what helping me now. So it took me about 10 years to start my savings. First 10 years of my corporate career, I had zero savings. So at the end of 10 years, my net bank balance was zero. So only after from 11th years onwards, it started improving. Of course, one of the main reason is my wife as well. So she also used to encourage the savings aspect. Then I started doing it. So my point is, if you want to achieve something, although you are not able to do it now, just have patience. Just keep a tab on it. Don't just stop it. Just do it parallelly once in a week. Just refresh yourself. Do something. So there will be some time where you can take it. That is one. And second main thing I felt is anyone should invest early. Although it's related to personal finance, I'm a huge fan of personal finance. I like to speak, but I don't get to have people to speak. But my point too with personal finance is you should save minimum 10% of your take home every month. If someone had told me this during my start of my career, I would have been in a far better financial state, because first 10 years I didn't save anything. Had I saved 10% of my income, it would have given me a great boost. There is something called compound interest, not compound interest, compounding effect. So that kicks in the longer your duration. So if someone is not doing it or still thinking, just go ahead and then just think that your salary is only 90 percentage. Like if your initial salary is given is like say $10,000, just assume that your salary is 9,000. The $1,000 you just set up automation and then just push it to some of the accounts which invest. Consider your salary as 9,000. You'll get used to it. So that is one main learning for me. If someone had given me, I would have been better place. But I thought I'll tell to others. That is one. And finally, one more thing is networking. Whatever, I'm actually a kind of I can say introvert. I don't speak gel too much with people. I tend to be silent until unless I have a be with them for a long time. Then only I start speaking more. But although even for people like me of this character, networking has helped me tremendously. I have a relationship only with few people, like few of my colleagues, few of my friends. Whatever opportunity it came in my career, everything is through networking. Everything was through the referral. Like from Honeywell, when I went to Singapore, in Singapore, I have changed to three companies. So totally all of my entire thing is through referrals. Not the norm. Of course, I apply for the normal job portals, but these referrals is what helped me. But it doesn't mean that I was in rigorously in touch with them. I being a bit of an introvert, I just slightly speak once or twice per year. That's all. Just normal chat as well, in text chat.
Right.
Even my opportunity with Singapore came through my Honeywell colleague, and whom I used to just ping in once or twice per year, hardly. That's all. But so the point I'm trying to make here is, even for such a person who doesn't mingle much with people, itself has this much opportunity, then consider if you are an extrovert. If you have more networking connections and you are very colloquial and then you're able to gel more with people, then that is the best way to improve your career. Technical skills, yes, you can do it your own thing. Focus on focus on networking as well. Keep in touch with your colleagues. You don't know when they will help you, or you may be able to help them.
Right. No, that is fantastic. Well, let's dive into a different section now. If you have seen any of my other episodes, you might have seen we dive into AI, as we are in the AI world. So what we try to do here, Praveen, is like we'll ask you to request for something, and the AI will make an image of it, and we'll ask a question around it. That's this section, right? It's the AI section. So for all the tech enthusiasts, so AI can draw, and it can also do videos. Maybe you have to try what is the Google thing, VO3 or something, right? I heard it can also create.
It's a very fast moving field. So yeah, there are video generation features as well. It's not up to the standard, but yeah, definitely it's improving day by day.
Yeah. So what is your request today? You can say anything you that comes to your mind. Chennai traffic or Singapore towers or whatever. Say whatever you want. Like draw. What can we draw for you today?
You can say draw a software developer going on site.
So draw software.
That was one of my turning point in my career. When the first on-site I went through Honeywell was how I can say, it brought a lot of changes. Even I recommend it for others as well. If you are into like developing countries like India, I strongly suggest you to visit any of these countries once, even if it's going to be on your personal money, because the exposure that you get is very different and it's going to help you. So going on site, if you get an opportunity, you must definitely visit, although the pay is going to be less. So I like this. So if a software developer going on site is a nice.
Draw me a software developer going on site. Okay, let's see what it comes up with. I'm curious to see.
Maybe on site, not sure whether it understands it as growing abroad.
Yeah.
we can tweak it.
It,
On-site, because in a company, when you say on-site, it means going to the customer place, something like that.
yeah. I think we need to tweak it a little bit. Maybe we'll edit the prompt. We'll say, draw me a software developer going on site from India to abroad. Is that okay?
Yeah, India to US, maybe
India to US.
to a customer place.
Okay, let's see what it comes up with. I mean, it funny it should show the cubicle again because the customer place has again cubicles and office chairs. Okay, fine. This is interesting.
Very similar.
Very similar, but it is showing
Going in flight.
a person traveling in a flight. So he's dressed and he's in a flight. And I think the question that comes to mind is like, what is the kind of exposure that you had, Praveen, when you went on site, and what was the exposure like from that experience?
Okay, my first on-site was to Shanghai. That was the city in China. So I was working for a CCTV surveillance product. And then this was the on-site. It's not a customer premise. It was again Honeywell branch in Shanghai. It was a 1 month task there. When I say, because like I said earlier, my whole career, whole education life was with a single city, single state called in Tamil Nadu. I've never been outside of Tamil Nadu apart from until my graduation. So we keep hearing about these different countries and their infrastructures or their different type of places only in movies or some those kind of things. But once I had this opportunity to, after I think 3 or 4 years of joining Honeywell, I think I went there after 4 years. It was 1 month. So everything I felt was very exciting, like including the journey experience and planning stuff, then the flight journey, and then you look at the infrastructure of that country and then the metro system, and then how the people behave, the local people, local cuisine. So all these were very interesting. From work point of view, also it was very different from what we used to have at India. So there in Shanghai, people used to come early and leave early. Something I don't remember. I think it's 8 to 5, something like that. And then when it comes at 5 o'clock, everyone literally left their place. And that was very surprising for someone who is from Bangalore. We used to spend, we don't have any clear cut. We just spend few more hours, few more minutes, then we leave. But that short 5, you can see everyone leaving. Also, during the lunch break, they switch off all the lights to make you sleep. Everyone has a pillow in their desk. After the lunch break, during the lunch break, they switch off the lights for, I guess, 1 hour or 45 minutes. So once they're done with the lunch, everyone sleeps in their desk with a small pillow. Which was, we used to make fun when we just are within India. Like, okay, if we are able to take a nap, it will be nice. Let's go and sleep. Then we make fun of that guy who tells that we will sleep. But it was actually happening there. It's officially being made as well. Like the switch of the lights is from office, right? So it was surprising. Also, all this adds to your perspective. And then also, of course, I happened to visit US as well. That I feel was one of the main opportunity that I got. I also recommend everyone, you have to visit US at least once. I'm not trying to say that go to all these tourist attractions, not in that sense, just to know how is the process, how everything is being done in US. Like US, I felt it's not as clean compared to like Singapore or any, so not that perspective. But US, everything you had some choice. Like in airport, from airport you can take. I was very surprised to know that we have this concept of this enterprise and this kind of cars, rental cars. From airport, you can take a car rental. You can roam around all this 1 week. You can change the car any number of times, and then you drop off at the airport, or you can drop off at any of the location of enterprise. I was very surprised because we have never heard this concept earlier within India. That concept was not there, and it was not that expensive. It was like $40 or something per day. So this one, and then the returns policy, and then the different types of stores, grocery stores, and how people work in US is more like chill, not too serious minded people. So it was more friendly, I felt. So all this, I think, adds to the experience.
Right, right. Got it, got it. No, that's good. I mean, like you, in each place you visit, you absorb something, right? I mean, beyond office, everywhere you go to a restaurant, you observe something. You go to a country, you observe something. I mean, that is something interesting to know that like Shanghai has that nap time after lunch. So is it immediately after nap or like so? Is it like 1 hour after lunch break? Is it like the
Yes. Let's say the time is, I think, 11:30. 11:30 to 12:30, something like that. I don't remember the time. So once people have lunch, so 45 minutes, they switch off the lights, they sleep. Yeah.
after lunch? Okay, got it.
After lunch. Yeah. Same
Got
thing
it.
was
Got it.
happening with in Singapore, one of the Japanese company as well. I worked in for 1 year company called Yokogawa. So there also they had the same concept. So during lunch break, they switch off the lights to allow you to sleep. Right. I
Right.
think for 45 minutes or 35 minutes.
Right. Got it. Got it. I, I just got, I mean, I didn't think about this question before, but like, so you've traveled across to multiple countries, or US, China, and Singapore. You had lived experiences in Singapore, which is like it's a cosmopolitan, but like it's heavily, I think, Asian kind of like population, right? Like in Singapore, and the cultures are different and things like that. And coming back to India, how was that experience? Like you have learned lived experiences in India and abroad, and coming back to India, how was that moment like? What was that? I'm sure you're like partially excited, partially nervous. How was that? Or you're like, oh no, I'm fully confident. I'm good. I know what I'm doing. How was that moment like?
You mean switching from Singapore to India? You are asking, or how is it?
Singapore to India. So when you came back, because you have lived in India, Bangalore, and like then you went to Singapore. Then now you're coming back to India. That is after 8 years. You're not coming back after like 2 months. You're coming after 8 years. So how was that? Like, what was it like? Because you have a lot of like learned and lived experiences from abroad also. Was it like nervous? Like I'm sure like there's everything mixed, right? Like you're also happy, you're also like nervous. How was that? Like was it like
Right.
was it an easy thing? I'm sure it was not an easy thing. I know you planned for 2 years. You planned like no one else, so you're planned enough. So I know that already. But like, what was that like overall experience like? You came back to Chennai. What was it like?
Yes.
Did you
Actually,
feel the way? Yeah.
yes, true. Because India is like a developing country and Singapore is a highly developed city. I feel Singapore is even better than some of the best cities in other worlds because of their space. Singapore is like a very small island, like 25, 30 kilometers long. So they're able to manage better. So we beat everything like roads or public transport, everything. We are able to manage well because of it's a smaller space. Of course, Singapore, we had a fantastic time. It's a, in, we in the sense, myself, my daughter, my wife, all three liked very much. It's a well planned city. We loved staying in Singapore. Right, it's always difficult when you want to when you think that we are going to go from this place to a place which is a downgrade uh, compared to the facilities and amenities available. Because in Singapore, everything is taken for granted. Like if you want to go to a mall during heavy rain, absolutely no issue because everywhere it's covered. So I can just no need for umbrella as well. We just take our MRT card and just go take a MRT bus because everywhere it's covered. So no issues. But that's not possible in here. So if you want to go, need a car. Then you have to plan accordingly. So everything comes into picture. Yes, you are right that if you want to move it from a developed country back to your hometown, which maybe is developing, is challenging. But then comes the priority. Actually, whether you stay in, or one of my main learning is at the end of the day, whether you stay in whichever country you are, the main thing matters is the actual work that you do on a daily basis, the 9 to 6. It has to be something that you like, and then you love to do it. It doesn't matter whether you stay in Shanghai or Singapore or say even in New York. If my work is something that, because work is what we do every day. Like if I'm staying in a place for 1 year, every day I'm going to work. So 9 to 6, this is a core hour of our active mind. We're spending for something. So that work you should love. You should like it. Then only we can push the days. So my point is, at the end of this day, it comes to what work you are going to do, whether you're going to like it or not. So we took a calculated risk, consciously took the decision that we know the limitations and we know the challenges that we'll face once we move. And of course, we every year we visit India once. That is still okay. But we planned ourselves. Okay, we get convinced ourselves what are the challenges we will face and how we will handle. So that those are also something what I plan, like how we go for how we will manage the schools. So what we did is
Got it.
like a forethought. When we move to India after 3 or 4 years, she has to be in say something called syllabus is Central Board of Secondary CBSE school, and there is something called second language. Since I am from Tamil Nadu, the language is India has many languages, so one particular language. So I planned ahead of this move some 3 years before, 3 4 years before we moved from Singapore. I joined her school in Singapore accordingly. So when the transition comes after 3 or 4 years down the lane, then it should be easier for her. It should not become something like it's not a sudden change. That is something we plan. And another thing is, it's good that fortunately it happened to me. It's Singapore. It's not US. I am pretty sure that if it had been US, I may not have moved to India, because I know I have visited US 2 to 3 times. I have stayed there for three, 4 months in a stretch. I know the attraction of US. We get used to all the infrastructure, the benefits available in US. So once you live in US for like say 1 year or 2 years, forget about 8 years. So even if you stay for 1 or 2 years, I feel it's very challenging to move back to India. So fortunately, it's an Asian country that we moved, Singapore. So it was more Asian culture. So we didn't had car. So we just used public transportation because it was excellent with Singapore. And then the journey was 4 hours. We had same traditional foods. So all did also, I think, added up. If we had been, I would have stayed in, like say, my friends, colleagues like California or San Francisco. I don't think it would have been easier for us. Yeah.
Right. Got it. No, beautiful answers. All answers are beautiful. Beautiful answers, Brian. Thank you for all the beautiful answers. So we are coming close to a wrap. And I just have like few rapid fire questions, like very quick, like one word answers or like short phrase, something like that. Okay. So I just picked some questions. Let's go with your like favorite one. First one, there are a lot of like tech buzzwords. If you ask, like there are so many like APIs, Visual Studio, Kubernetes, and so many. What is your favorite buzzword?
Okay.
Tech buzzwords.
Of late, I feel it's definitely LLM, because I am just like everyone else. I am super impressed with the output of LLM, the way it is designed and way it helps. I have been an active user of LLM from the day one it was introduced. I try to leverage the maximum out of it. I feel this is one of the best thing happened to me in my personal career life. Introduction of LLM. So LLM is the buzzword.
LLM is the answer. Okay, fine. Favorite shortcut? I know you're a fan of like keyboard shortcuts. What is your favorite keyboard shortcut?
Okay. I actually transitioned to Mac, I think 5 or 4 years back. So before that, I was Windows user. So when I was using Windows PC, I had a lot of shortcuts. I'm very fond of it. I used to teach others as well, like launching all these many things. Now with Mac, Mac also supports. I think with Mac, the best one is what to say. I feel Spotlight is the best shortcut with Mac, because Spotlight, when I got Mac, I was very impressed with Spotlight, because it searches your entire Mac, internet, everything in one. It's like a search bar on
command
steroids.
space, right? Like,
Yes.
Right. Got it.
I think one more thing, Mac will be something like, what is it? Command tilde. Yeah, which is to go to another instance of the app of the same type. For example, if you have 5 browser windows open, not tab, 5 browser windows open, you want to switch, you use the control tilde. So that was very nice.
Okay, nice. You've lived in so many cities so far, like Coimbatore, Bangalore, and like if you have to pick one city, Bangalore, Singapore, Chennai, which would you pick?
Yeah, definitely.
Or Shanghai, I don't know. Singapore. Okay,
definitely.
You don't have to explain it. I get it. What's your favorite cuisine? I'm sure like you've tried different cuisines. Is there a favorite cuisine? Like
Actually, we are actually all three of us very fond of Mexican food called burrito. So from the day we got introduced to it, again it's in Singapore, we were very impressed with that. So even now, for me, the personal favorite is burrito.
Okay, awesome.
Unfortunately, we don't get that much in Chennai. So yeah, but that's a fact.
Got it. Got it. Your favorite cloud provider? I mean, like you have like so many. Can I think I can guess. It's Azure. Can I guess?
Yes.
Yes.
Because Azure also has a tight integration with .NET. That is also another reason.
I see.
Like
Yeah,
if
of course.
if you are developing a .NET project or something in Visual Studio, if Visual Studio has a tight integration with Azure, you don't need to go to the Azure portal. So just from Visual Studio, you can say publish to Azure. It takes care of everything. So all the Microsoft ecosystem is tightly integrated. So yeah, Azure.
Got it. Explain your teaching style in one word or one short sentence.
I can say methodological. Yeah, means try to structure it well and try to cover all the.
Right. Got it. I'm sure you have done a lot of debugging, troubleshooting, building, rebuilding, and all of that. And error pops up, and it's all in the life of a developer. Errors are like the pain, and that's how you resolve when you develop a product. Also, what's your favorite error message?
Error message. For the last 2 years, I've been doing with Python. So I am not doing much with the .NET now. I do full into Python. Python, we don't have that concept of virtual environments in the .NET. So .NET is very simple to get started. Like just create a project, run it. We have something called run or control F5 like that. But in Python, you have to create a virtual environment and then trigger it. So that one, it took me a lot of time to make it as a habit. So whenever I just run Python, it will say, I don't remember the error, but you just run to Python and followed by the Python file. Unless it is not in a virtual environment, it will give an error. I don't remember it. Something like you have to run it in the virtual environment, something like that. So that message is what I get very often during my initial days. Even now also I get sometimes. Then I think that, okay, I forgot to launch it as part of the virtual environment.
You're actively creating a course, you're debugging, or you're rewatching a course, or you're doing something. You're in the zone, right? And if you're listening to a music, which track or which artist would you listen to?
Oh, that's a no doubt. For me, A.R. Rahman has been the best
Me too.
artist for me. Yeah, because of the nature of our adulthood, not adulthood, our teenage. So during that time, 1990s is where we do schools and then colleges. That time he was the most. So even now I consider him as the best. So even now I hear 95% his albums. Yeah.
Got it. Awesome. Praveen, that kind of brings us to the close. If people have to reach out to you, where is the best place for anyone to reach out to reach Praveen?
I don't use social media much. I'm not into Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. The best way would be through LinkedIn. Yeah, LinkedIn you can connect, or you can drop me a message in LinkedIn. I think that's the best way as of now.
Got it. Do you want people to anything else you want to plug before we close?
Yeah, I think I have covered pretty much everything. One funny thing which I keep telling to many people is it will really look funny is I recommend people to learn typewriting. Maybe you can show the photo of it if possible later during editing. The typewriter, that's a traditional way of before the computers came, we have the typewriters where we have the documents and then you key in manually. So even now we have classes for that. The small story behind this is during my 9th or 10th grade, there was a 1 month holiday, summer holidays. So I happened to join the typewriting class. Yes, this one. So I happened to join a typewriting class, which was like 100 rupees in Indian terms, which is like $2 at that point of time. I think I went for a class for 2 months. So it's like $4 in total. It shows you the fingering, like how you, without seeing the keyboard, you'll be able to type. That is what it tried to teach you. Personally, in my life, that $4 is the best investment I have ever made. Because as a software engineer, you use computer 100% of the time. So now I can type everything without seeing the keyboard. Typing without seeing the keyboard is not easy if you don't know typing. I'm not talking about those who just use the single fingers or some random way to type but still get the job done. Okay, that may be possible. But once you know typewriting, the productivity gain I got out of it is tremendous, and I feel that's the best ROI I have ever got. So if you are into a software engineer, although it looks funny, just give a try. Just learn typewriting for just learn for 2 months. Go to the real class, learn typewriting. You will see a phenomenal speed at which you use your computer.
Got it. Got it. Praveen, thank you so much. It was more like reconnecting and like listening to your like life story from what happened afterwards. Before I've spent some time with enough time with you, and like I kind of know you already, but it was really enjoyable talking to you. It was more than a pleasure. Thank you. Maybe we'll do a part 2 in the future, but I love this episode. Thank you so much for being a guest today.
Yeah, thank you so much for giving this opportunity as well. So we had a fantastic 2 hours time. We're able to go back to all the college days, school days. It's like a nostalgic moments. Yeah, thanks, Vijayan. So it's nice to see your work as well. So all the best for your future works as well.
Yeah, thanks. See you everyone.
Okay,
Bye.
Okay, bye.